Bitcoin is pushing up towards that $35,000 level right now, which is absolutely fantastic. We are not letting up on this. If you actually zoom in, it's very clear to see that Bitcoin is constantly coming back here to test this area, which is absolutely amazing. This is exactly what we want to see to tell us that this market could end up punching higher. But while all of this is going on in the market, one of the things that's really important to discuss, especially as we go forward here, is are we looking at a bull trap in this market? Okay, are we looking at a situation where Bitcoin is actually setting us up to completely trap us in a very, very dangerous position and then tank the market back down again? This is a very important discussion in the market at present, and I want to show you what that might look like, because what we had last year was a 68% drop to the downside. We ended up bouncing off the level of about kind of $35,000, and we rallied all the way up to 48,000, and it triggered a 68% correction within 245 days. Now, if we saw something similar to that happening again right now, that would be another 68% correction, taking us right down to that bear porn target of $11,000 and $12,000 on this price chart right here. So definitely something which, is worth paying attention to. I mean, this is something in the market which, if Bitcoin does reproduce what it did before, if Bitcoin does form a bull trap where we break critical resistance and only get slightly higher above it and then crash back down, we are looking at potentially years more of this bear market. So I know it's not really the discussion that we want to have. Obviously, we want to be excited and stuff like that, but that's not responsible technical analysis, and that's certainly not responsible trading. Our job as traders, our job as technical analysts is to consider each and every perspective to make sure that we have, got a good grasp of the market, that we are prepared for everything, that we understand the probabilities of each thing's happening. Because one thing that's really important to take note of, especially at times like this, is that anything is possible in these markets, okay? And that's really, really important. If there's a possibility above zero, and there is a possibility above zero for absolutely anything to happen, then it must be considered. And if it's not considered, you're not being a responsible trader. You might get away with that during bull markets and stuff like that, but if you're like me and you want to stay profitable and successful over the years, guys, I've been in this market for 6.5 years now. If you want to be profitable and successful over such a long period of time, you don't have a choice. You have to employ these strategies and these mindsets that I'm about to discuss with you in this video. So let's take a look at this and kind of dive into what we're working with here. Now, just to kind of refresh your memory, especially if you didn't see this back in 2022, but let me know, write a comment down below if you actually saw this back in 2022. Just say I was here in 2022. I want to know how many of you guys were around back then. What we had was the price bouncing off, this $33,000 level while we were in this horrendous downtrend. And what actually happened was we established this quite clear resistance up here at the $44,000 level, and we knew that this was an important level for a long time. I mean, this was quite an obvious level on the market to find a little bit of resistance, because we were finding support here in the past. We were consolidating, getting candles opening and closing, big support hits. Look at this, absolutely beautiful. We even found resistance as well. So there was a lot of price history around this $44,000 level, which made it a very psychologically charged level. It made it a very technically important level. When you break these really strong areas of resistance, what you actually end up doing is exactly what we've done just now, ladies and gents, where we had the exact same thing with a $30,000 level. I mean, we've known this, better than we know at the back of our hands, to be honest, at this stage, where we were constantly just having massive price moves around this $30,000 level, whether it was support on these occasions or resistance over here. And then we continued to find resistance throughout the course of this year. And then obviously we got the four flies breakout that we were looking for a very long time. Obviously, you guys know the deal. I've been sitting in my long position since way back over here. Absolutely beautiful. I've used 10x leverage, so I have literally pulled a 650% profit on this position, which is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, I want to make it clear that's not on the entire position, because I've taken profits on the way up, but an absolutely astronomical gain. It is the biggest percentage gain that I've ever hit on a trade in my life. I think it's, if it's not, it's like around here. So super cool. You guys already know the deal. I traded this on Bybit, and you can get up to $30,000 when you start trading using my link in the description down below. Well worth checking out. Obviously not available to people whose countries have banned derivatives exchanges. The disclaimers are all over the place. CoinW also got a cool offer where they're giving you $50 for free to trade with. All you've got to do is open a futures account. So definitely check them two out if you're interested in trading crypto. And BingX gives you access to traditional finance markets and a fucking crazy additional bonus to get into the market as well. So very, very cool indeed. Check them all out if you are interested. But let's get back to the chart here before we talk about that again. The 30K level was a very, very important level for Bitcoin. And, the 44K level felt like something similar back then as well. And that's where we got this nice pop to the upside, and we really expected it to go much further. What we expected was that we're going to kind of drop down here, break this resistance, and then rocket back up to all-time highs. And I really thought that this was what's going to happen. Back here. I mean, I wasn't ready for the bull market to end, because as far as bull markets ending go, this was very unconventional. Like what we had back here, I have never personally seen before. And one of the things that was actually really interesting back then, again, if you were here, please do let me know by saying I was here in 2022, was that if you kind of look at the way bull markets end, and you look at the way bull markets have ended in the past, you study previous examples, not just with Bitcoin, but including Bitcoin and other assets, just traditional finance and whatever, you don't really find chart patterns like this. Like, it's not actually common that this kind of chart pattern will actually result in bull markets ending. And I've just had a brilliant idea, actually. I just want to set a reminder on Siri. Remind me to plug chart pictures into ChatGPT and compare them with previous bull market tops in 2 hours. That is probably going to be... One second. I had to stop talking. I had to stop talking for Siri to do that. That is going to be really interesting. I think that could actually be a really cool video, so I just wanted to set that reminder. But if we take a look at what happened back here in 2022, this is a look at the chart without actually... this is a look at the chart without actually being able to see, what ended up happening. You can actually see what happened, without, going back. And what we had back here was a really nice ascending triangle pattern that actually spanned 28%. So that gives us a speculative target if we do manage to get that breakout of 28% to the upside, so about $57,000. And Bitcoin started off perfectly. I mean, we did have heavy resistance over here, and that was really the only problem. But other than that, Bitcoin started it off perfectly. One of the big things to keep in mind is, and this is something that we always look at on this YouTube channel, is when you've cleared these areas of resistance, the higher you go, it's like high altitude flying. Like the air gets thinner, and it's the same thing with resistance. The higher you go, typically the resistance gets thinner as well, and that is really useful to know, because it can actually tell us how much of a struggle we're going to have to rise up. It's one of the reasons that, for example, when we broke the same resistance level on this occasion, it was a fucking absolute just rocket ship to the upside here. Not a coincidence whatsoever. That is what happens when you break important resistance levels. So that's what we expected back here as well. But the way this actually played out was that we came back down to retest this line. Fair enough, not a big deal. That's okay. We do like these retests, and this is something that I'm very open to getting with Bitcoin down at the $30,000 level. But what this actually resulted in afterwards was a weak bounce followed by tumbling lower back into the triangle, and then down out of the triangle. And what we actually had here on the 4-hour time frame, I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of unclear, but on the 4-hour time frame was that we were just constantly getting fucked on our red Ichimoku cloud. I mean, just constantly getting rejected right here. And these were not thick clouds either. I mean, it was thick back here, it was thick back here, fair enough. On this occasion here, we really had a chance to pick this thing back up. We even had a kind of bullish pattern here with this falling wedge, but it didn't work out. Bitcoin didn't manage to get that continuation to the upside, and it's actually what triggered this massive 35% drop to the downside. So I think that's actually really important to keep in mind. I mean, this was a brutal situation for Bitcoin back in 2022, and we do have similarities today. Over here, what we have is a 48% ascending triangle, giving us a speculative target of $46,000 if we do something similar. And we do have an ascending triangle as well. We've clearly hit our resistance level, so I think this is quite valid. And our support level, we're still getting bounces along this level. It's not spaced out as much as I would like. Ideally you want to see this drop, down to the support line here. But it's okay. It's still a valid support. I'm sorry. It's still a valid ascending triangle in my opinion. It's not perfect. It's not where we want it to be, but we're looking at characteristics here. What we're looking at is that our lows keep getting higher and that our highs stay the same. That is ultimately the characteristic that we're analyzing when we're looking at ascending triangles. We're simply seeing that our support level keeps on climbing higher, but our resistance level stays static. And that's important because it tells us that, okay, while, you know, we're still kind of unsure, we're not able to push those highs, there's a lot of heavy selling pressure up here, we do know that every time the price dips down, people are more and more and more bullish and excited to get into the market, which is still an indication of where the momentum is. It's not the strongest indication, but it's a very reliable one in my experience. And we've gotten that breakout here now as well, which is absolutely fantastic. But again, we take a look at how this played out for Bitcoin back in 2022, and it is a similar situation. One of the big differences that we have today is that we formed this one in a downtrend. Bitcoin was in a downtrend over here for quite a while, by the way. Bitcoin was in a downtrend here from November all the way up to, I mean, we broke out of this back in like April. So this was like a 6-month downtrend, you know, and Bitcoin today, you know, is actually entering this range from a bullish trend, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, one of the things to take into account is if we come back to the Ichimoku cloud back here, it was fucking massive. Bitcoin had a massive area of resistance on this chart with the Ichimoku cloud, you know, and compared to the present day, you know, we really didn't have much of a challenge as far as the daily cloud goes. It was still a challenge. It was still something I was cautious of, and I was telling you guys I'm cautious of it. But, you know, we compare it to the resistance that Bitcoin faced before, and it's absolutely nothing. And I think that one of the key reasons for that is probably just the fact that Bitcoin already managed to break out of the resistance range back here at the beginning of 2023. This was where everybody was still massively bearish on the market, obviously, and we know that this is how it happens, right? When you actually end the bear market and when you actually are about to trigger big moves to the upside, nobody believes in it. Nobody thinks that that's actually what's going to happen. So, you know, really important, I think, to keep that in mind right here. But this does seem to be now in hindsight where I don't want to say where the bear market ended, because I don't necessarily think the bear market is over, but it's certainly where the uptrend began. It's where the uptrend was confirmed. You know, we set the high over here. We set the high over here at about $18,000, and then when we broke that high, that was really you know, the money shot, if you want to call it that, and I think that's really where things started to change and really kick it up a couple gears as well. So you know, that's really important. Now, another difference that I want to highlight for you guys is that we formed the previous ascending triangle, you know, across 63 days back in 2022. It was quite short term. You know, this one has lasted about 200 days. So, you know, much longer time frame chart pattern here. Typically, the longer the time frame, the more significant it is. It's why we got such a big move up when we broke the $30,000 area of resistance, because this level has been in play now for 1,025 days. You know, so a very long time for just one level to be important in the market. I want to give you guys, you know, a point of comparison here. By the way, this is the 2018 level that we were looking at with the $6,000 area, and this level was in play for 555 days. So, you know, that really goes a long way to tell you just how significant the 30K level is. And it's the reason that I'm telling you so clearly that I believe the 30K breakout is the biggest, most important breakout Bitcoin has ever had in its history, or it certainly is a good candidate for being that, because if you take a look at how long we've had price interactions for previously, 557 days compared to 1,025 is not even close. It's literally double. So, you know, I think that that really shows us just how important that $30,000 level is, because if you were here back in 2018, and I know that a good number of you were here back in 2018, obviously you guys have been watching me since we were making videos back then in 2018, you're actually going to remember that, you know, $6,000 was a really important level in the market. It was today's $30,000, you know, and when we fell below it, it was a disaster. And when we got back above it, it was absolutely beautiful. And it was the same thing, you know, the next time again. I mean, when we dropped below it, I mean, instantly, just the same fucking day, more or less, down by 36%. I mean, absolutely crazy. Now, granted, this was the COVID crash, so, you know, I mean, it is a bit of an anomaly, but, you know, again, as soon as we get above it, you know, it doesn't take long, month and a half, and we've nearly doubled in price. We're up by 70%. So, you know, really puts it into perspective how, you know, polarizing the $6,000 level was, you know, and now we've got the same thing going on with a $30,000 level, just on a much larger time frame. And I think this is what's really important is, I mean, the 30K level is just way more important than, the 44K level. To form a deviation above this, and this is where I'm going to start to bring my opinion in a little bit, is not what I would consider to be the most likely situation. 63 days with this ascending triangle compared to 200 over here, really helps put it into perspective that we are working with different, with different market dynamics, if nothing else, to be honest. I mean, it's just a different situation, given how long this has played out for. We are looking at similar patterns but different situations, and I think that is important to take note of. Now, how do we actually figure out if this is a bull trap? Well, it's going to depend on returning back down to the lows. Now, and this is where this gets kind of complicated, because returning back down to the lows isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's actually great. If Bitcoin does something like that, I mean, just imagine the tears and the blood in the street, with the Bitcoin dominance. I mean, Bitcoin's dominance is already peaking again. We're already seeing major coins like Ethereum just tanking against Bitcoin even more. I mean, if you've been positioned in altcoins, I don't know what to say to you. We've been so vocal about how much of a horrible idea that is on this YouTube channel for such a long period of time, I really don't understand why anybody would be holding altcoins at this point in the market, to be completely honest with you guys. What we have here, is extremely clear to me. I mean, we're seeing with exceptions like Pepe just going absolutely fucking haywire. The altcoin market is doing badly. We've got Tron as well, still holding its weight incredibly well. And actually, this Tron position that I've taken is now at 200% profit from my entry level. So my Bitcoin trade at 650%. By the way, that is a seven and a half times gain that I've pulled on Bitcoin, and a 3 times gain that I've pulled on TRX. So again, absolutely insane profits here, ladies and gents, all traded on Bybit with that first link in the description down below. You again are going to get $30,000 in trading bonuses when you start trading using my link up to 30K, which is very, very cool. And those of you that are registered to Bybit under me are going to be getting my free trading package worth $100, where it's actually worth more than that. I shouldn't have written that, where you can actually learn a lot of the key psychological lessons that I've applied, that have helped me make and save ridiculous amounts of money in this market. The value of what you're getting versus how much you actually pay is insane. But the best part is you don't even pay anything. You just have to be registered with Bybit under my link, and then you are in. And by the way, if you're already on Bybit but you haven't been referred by me, then we can handle that for you. Just reach out by following these steps right here. So super, super cool. But as I was saying, I mean, just imagine the blood in the streets, ladies and gents, if Bitcoin did manage to drop down to $30,000, just with Bitcoin pumping up. All of these altcoins have been completely decimated. They are still rising against the dollar, don't get me wrong. We're still seeing gains. We're still seeing some green across the board here, but ladies and gents, I mean, any of these Bitcoin charts that we've got on here, are not looking great. They're dipping down. They're setting lows. These altcoins are, without a doubt, getting weaker against Bitcoin. Even extremely strong coins like Binance coins still just absolutely tanking against Bitcoin. I mean, if you're holding this, you've lost so much actual real value in this market. And that's just with Bitcoin going up. That's in an optimistic environment. And why are we seeing? I mean, it's extremely clear. The reason that we're seeing this is simply because people don't want to be in these coins, when Bitcoin is performing well. I mean, the only reason, let's get fucking real for a second, ladies and gents, smash up the likes if you agree with me here. The only reason that people actually buy altcoins in the first place is because you want to make more money than Bitcoin. You want to make more money than the gains that Bitcoin could give you. You want to take a little bit more risk to see a little bit more reward. And if that's not really playing out, and if the safe asset is what's making everybody money, then why would you be in a risky asset? I mean, it's just completely illogical. If you're getting everything that you want from the safe pick, why would you go to the risky pick? And that is being proven unequivocally with the market right now. It's not to say that these altcoins are being sold, but they're not picking up enough value against Bitcoin, and that is putting you in a weaker position. You could have been making so much more money right now, and especially when it's not productive to get caught up in what you could have had or what stuff like that. But when it was so easy, when the writing was on the wall for fucking months, if not years, then you do have to kind of take a couple steps back and think to yourself, okay, well, sure, I still made a little bit of money, but I could have made way more. And am I trading to make money slowly, or am I trading to make money quickly? Am I trading to take advantage of the opportunities in front of me, or am I trading to simply fulfill my fucking ego because I think that, my coins are a good pick, and so I'm just gonna, like pat myself on the back even though I'm not making good financial decisions? I mean, what game are you playing? You've got to really take a step back and think about that in this market, ladies and gents. And if we do bring it back here, this is all happening with Bitcoin moving up. So, if Bitcoin did manage to move down, I don't know what would happen to the altcoin market, but I'm sure it would be quite disastrous, to be honest. So, it would make a lot of sense. It would put Bitcoin in a very strong position. And the beautiful thing that would happen is that with Bitcoin's dominance just skyrocketing, being in such a strong position right now, it does mean that we are going to get opportunities in the altcoin market later on. I'm bashing altcoins a lot right now, but that's because I've known since the fucking top back in 2021, and I've said this publicly, I was getting absolutely flamed for it. People hated me. My God, it was like I murdered their fucking grandmothers. When I was telling you guys that, Matic, for example, was peaking. I was telling you guys this when Matic was at its top, like literally over here. Okay, I was a little bit early, but it was literally over here where I was telling you guys Matic is not going to stay up here. You should just go back and find the YouTube videos. You'll see. I mean, it was not pretty, the responses I was getting. But look at the fucking results, ladies and gents. I mean, it's just absolutely horrific. Just from like some random point over here down to the current price, Matic is still down by 70%. We take a look at Bitcoin, by comparison, Bitcoin's down by 50%. For Bitcoin to match the same gain as Matic, take a look at this. To get down 70%, all right, this is the 70% point. Bitcoin would have to drop down a further 36%. These percentage moves, they're skewed. Don't let these moves confuse you. An extra 20% down isn't a small thing. An extra 20% down means that from current prices, we're down by a third. Okay, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. This is like, the levels of value loss that you've seen on currencies in countries like Turkey, Lebanon, just decimation. When people suffer these kind of losses on their net worth, it is decimation. You're fucking wiped out. 30% on your fucking net worth. You're holding properties and shit like that. You're gone. It's a big deal. And I think that's really, really important to be keeping in mind here. So, what we would be looking for, first of all, is that drop back down to the support level to tell us if we are going to form this kind of deviation where we come back down, but then we're going to watch this support level, and we're actually going to be interested in seeing if there's a deviation to the downside, because what we could end up doing is something a little bit like this, but this would still be okay. If we get this kind of deviation over here, where we actually fall below our support level, and then, just capture support in some really important areas below it, and then rocket back higher, I'd actually argue that that's much more healthy. And the reason I would say that would be more healthy for the market is it means that Bitcoin has been given a full chance to just shit the bed and drop back down to $20,000 and even lower. Bitcoin has been given a full easy chance to pull that off. And if Bitcoin still can't take advantage of it, if Bitcoin still can't run with that and actually drop the market lower, then you've got the best fucking bull hypothesis that you could find, ladies and gents. I mean, you are literally giving Bitcoin everything it needs to tank the market, and it still doesn't do it. Well, it is just balls to the wall, just massive bull trend, that you could probably expect coming after that. And that would actually be very, very bullish. So those are kind of my lines here. I think that if Bitcoin does manage to drop down to 30K, just as it is right now, I'm seeing emotions being, obviously there's a lot of happiness and stuff like that, but there's a lot of bitterness, and I do think that bitterness is going to get worse if we do drop down to 30K. It's almost like, you've been caged up for months and months and months, and you've finally been let out, and now you're kind of going back into your cage. I really feel like there's going to be a lot of fucking PTSD, the trading version of PTSD in this market if we did manage to pull that off, and especially if we got that deviation here. Just imagine all of the longs that have piled into the market here that would get stopped out if we came over here. One of the big reasons that we saw this big move to the upside was because so many dumb traders were short in the market, and we were talking about that on this YouTube channel, looking at the Four Flies dashboard right here. By the way, look at this fear and greed at 72. I mean, we're definitely very high out. This is the highest we've been for as long as I can remember, to be honest, like well over a year, I think. But we're still majority short. We were even more short on Binance Retail a couple of days ago. So I mean, obviously these shorts are just getting covered. These shorts are having to close. And, those of you that haven't quite gotten around to this, if you don't understand the mechanics of this, is, like if you're going short, you're basically putting money on the direction of the downside. But the only way you can close that position is by buying back your Bitcoins. So, because when you go short, you're basically selling Bitcoin. And to close that active selling position, you have to buy it back. It's like when you go short, you go into negative 5 BTC, for example, you have to go back up to 0 to close that position. It's the same thing when you go long. When you go long, you've gone from 0 BTC to 5 BTC. That's your open position. So to close it, you have to sell those Bitcoins back into the market. And the reason that triggers these really big rocket moves to the upside is because when you've got to close these short positions, the only thing you can do is buy those Bitcoins back. And if there's nobody selling their Bitcoins, then the price just has to move up. And that's exactly what we see. So we've still got the setup for that here. It's a little bit less aggressive now, potentially, what we could be expecting, but we do still have the same setup. So definitely something which I think is important to keep in mind, important to take note of at this stage in the market. And so that's what I'm going to be looking for. That deviation, I don't know where that deviation could come back down to. 31.5 is a really good area of support. 30K is absolutely phenomenal. 28K, honestly, don't be closed off to this. This could be the deviation zone for Bitcoin. And what a beautiful deviation it would be if we did manage to pull that off. By the way, let's actually see what Fibonacci levels line up with this. And it's the 618. I mean, it couldn't be more perfect than this, literally, to drop down here to this previous area where we were encountering a lot of resistance, topping out, getting a little bit of support with this wick right here, consolidating. If this was the area that Bitcoin dropped back down to before, that next big move to the upside, I mean, don't be surprised. This is, it's Bitcoin is already set up to do this. It doesn't mean it's going to do this. Obviously, this can go so many different ways, but this is definitely what Bitcoin looks like it's poised to do already. So please do keep that in mind. Don't get blindsided by this kind of thing in this market at the moment. So those are my thoughts on the kind of deviation discussion for Bitcoin. I don't really think it's going to happen. If we start looking like it's going to happen, I am going to be looking at actually capturing support, even if it doesn't happen quite at the level we want to see it and it happens a little bit lower. That's completely okay with me. And then we continue to move to the upside. I feel like this is a real bit of price action. I do not think that we're looking at a straight fucking moonshot to $69,000. And when people start behaving like that, that's when I'm really going to be trying to go short. But one thing that is clear is we do have heavy resistance up ahead in this high $30,000 range. Now, don't worry about it. I'm going to come back to you guys with some more real price action based analysis on this YouTube channel just in a few hours. So make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you're smashing up the like button. You got the bell icon checked because obviously this is very time sensitive content. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to watch it late. And YouTube will notify you straight to your phone when I publish videos if you've got the bell icon checked. Additionally, some of you guys have YouTube notifications turned off, which is completely fine. You can join my free 4Flies Gold Telegram channel where you get even more analysis, even more trade updates from me around the clock, completely free of charge. It is the free version of my VIP group, and you will also be informed about videos via notifications over here as well. So definitely do check that out. We don't post all of them in here, but we do post some of them. And like I said, while you are down there below that beautiful like button, check out the links down below to these huge offers you have available if you're in a country that allows you to trade on them. If you're not, you're going to be IP blocked. You won't be able to access them. And it's illegal, so don't do anything illegal. But Bybit is going to be giving you up to $30,000 in completely free trading capital, and all you've got to do is sign up and start trading using my link down below to get that cash. You can also buy and sell shitcoins to your heart's desire, with 0% spot trading fees. So you're not going to pay any fees when you buy and sell altcoins normally, which is super, super cool. And if you want to trade derivatives, if you want to go long and short on Bitcoin or any other market while you're holding those altcoins, that is now possible on Bybit as well. They've launched what's called a unified trading account where you can actually hold any, for any shitcoin that you like, and then you can trade any other market with that capital, which as far as I know, that Bybit is the only place that allows that. I do want to make a quick note on these bonuses. Bybit, to get the $30,000 bonus, you do have to start trading, like I said, so that means you got to make your deposit and then take it from there. And it might take a couple of days to get credited in. If you guys have any issues, come to this direct contact link to me. This is literally my chat. This goes to my phone, and I will sort out any problems for you. I have very good connects at all of these exchanges that I work with, so please do reach out to me if you ever have an issue. It is absolutely essential that you don't stay in the dark, and that you come straight to me and I will fix that for you. And with CoinW, it's going to take you 3 days when you open a futures account to get the bonus, which is fucking annoying, but I'm speaking to the team and I'm telling them to fix this. It's the best they can do. It was actually much longer before. I was like, guys, I'm not even gonna tell my viewers that you've got this offer, because it was like 7 days before. I'm like, you're just being stupid here. I mean, I literally had to tell it to them point blank. I'm like, this is not okay. It has to be faster. 3 days, unfortunately, but fuck it. Start the process now. You get your free money. Super, super cool. And the same thing is going to apply to BingX. It's not going to come in instantly, but when you do start trading and stuff like that, you are going to get these beautiful bonuses on an exchange that allows you to trade markets that, quite frankly, people like you and I generally don't have access to, that people like you and I just don't trade. So that is really, really cool, and something that I'm very excited for across these stock markets here. So all of the real price-based analysis, the intraday, the real kind of short-term analysis that you guys know me for, that's going to be in the next video. Make sure you are subscribed for that. But with that, ladies and gents, I'm going to see you all in the next one. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'm out. Cheers.